be together. Yes, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Workers' Voice. As you know that, let me just say Happy New Year to everyone. As you were aware that the United Workers' Party, we had suspended the program for some time, and now we are back. And just to inform our listeners that, we have now cut the time from 2 hours to 1 hour. Notwithstanding, this will be weekly until we can resume to normalcy. And we have to tell you that we are hoping to use other media platforms to get the message across. So, you know, don't be perturbed by the time. And, you just have to get your act together, all of us. And we want to say for those who have supported us through the years, we want to thank you. For those who continue to do so, and well wishers, and those who will be coming on board to ensure that our program continues. We want to say that we welcome you. So let me say good night to Dominicans wherever you are. We know United Workers Party has elected a new executive. You are aware of this, and we are on the ball again, rolling, and we are united more than ever for the purpose of Dominica, to ensure that we bring restoration to the economy and to all of the other facets of our society, to this lovely country. We have good people in this country, and we should not believe that because this government has wrecked, this rogue government has wrecked the economy and wrecked things and has things disorganized, or some of us would say have things in some organized chaos manner, that things are all gone. No, we can restore this beautiful country if at all we just put our collective energies together. So tonight with us is our political leader, Honorable Dr. Thompson Fontaine. You have our international secretary here tonight with us, Mr. McDonald Thomas, Dr. McDonald Thomas, and we have obviously our vice president with us, Honorable Ronald Charles. And yours truly, your host for the time being is Mr. Glenroy Soso Coffee. And as we say, from next week, you will have changes, you will have new people coming on board. And as we go forward, you'll hear new people on different topics. And so it's a change for the best. It's a change for you. It's a change for Dominica. It's a nice fresh air, an inhalation of nice fresh air. Fresh voices will be heard as you have been proposing for. And so you'll be hearing that. So we just want to say good night to our executive members who have been working very hard, our political leader, our deputy political leader, Mr. Parrish, Delbert Paris. We have our president, Mr. Lennox Linton, our vice president, Mr. Ronald Charles, and we have our general secretary, Mr. Nicholas George, and all of the other executive members. Well, to my right already is our international secretary, Dr. T.C. McDonald Thomas. So we just want to say to you all tonight, just sit back and, our focus tonight will be, just, reviewing some of what has transpired today. I think you heard a press conference took place by the United Workers Party. We may not have all the time, but you'll be hearing some of the presentations. We may not have time to do all, but we'll hear excerpts of it. And we are assuring you that this party is putting a serious plan forward to ensure that you get the message, to drive Dominica's agenda, and to restore hope and confidence and faith, in our Dominica. So let me say good night to you all, gentlemen, and for your opening remarks, Mr. Vice President of the party, Mr. Honorable Ronald Charles.
Good evening to you, Soso, and good evening to the many listeners of the big station. Of course, as you have made a thorough introduction, let me just say a good evening to my constituents. And you realized I said my constituents, or my constituents and my constituency.
Okay, so
that is the Roseau Valley, from each hamlet, from Trafalgar to the north, one would say, and Orkney, Wharton Waven, Mount Prospect, Cochrane, Loda, and all the various hamlets to include Copthorpe.
right.
Good evening to everybody. And I know we have a short program, so good evening to everybody until the discussion starts.
Yes, Dr. TC.
Yes, thank you, Soso. Good evening to everyone out there. I want to say special good evening to the executive of the party, as usual. I want to say special good evening to the Wesley constituency, that is Wesley, Woodford Hill, and Palm Tree. Special good evening to our new selected candidate, Mr. Jean Passoir.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. And going forward, we're doing our best to do our work in the constituency, do getting some things done. I want to say, I want to congratulate the 32 people who received coupons over the holidays for shopping in the constituency. I think that was very good. That they really enjoyed going out.
Compliments.
Compliments.
You must say it,
Yes,
because
yes, yes.
oftentimes we the right hand doesn't have to know what the left hand does. But let us just say it for the right.
Yes. 32 residents received coupons for $50 shopping in the constituency.
Excellent.
And we're looking forward to doing Valentine's Day event
Wow.
on the 4 Road on February 14th. So come with your love songs, come with your voice, bring your better half, your other half, and let's have a good social time on the 4 Road in Wesley. So.
Yes. But thanks you again, and I will go to Dr. Thompson Fountain right now for his opening remarks.
All right. Yes, indeed. Good night to many, many listeners. It's great to be back on the air after, break, Christmas and New Year break. We are back. We are strong, and we're grateful, in fact, to be here tonight. And I'm certainly delighted to be with you all. And let me say congratulations, by the way, to the new executive of the United Workers' Party. We had our annual convention in December. And I'm sure you've heard of the new persons. And of course, we want to congratulate our new deputy leader, Mr. Delbert Paris, and our new PRO,
yes.
Shirley
Shirley
Sabroch, and who else was new on the executive? I think it's those two new.
Yeah.
I think it's
These
two.
are just the two new ones. Yes.
The rest of us are old timers, and Ronald, of course, being the vice president, and TC. I'm going up unopposed for the umpteenth time. Unopposed. Nicholas Judge. So, it's a great team. I'm very happy to be part of that team. And as you said, we had a really good day today. We've been having some very good times in the constituencies. A lot is going on. And I've been seeing a lot of agitation, guys, online about whether or not the United Workers' Party is working, whether or not we are quiet. Yeah. Let me remind everybody that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
That's
right.
That
our candidates are on the ground doing the work that is necessary. Sometimes you have to set off the fireworks. Other times you have to go in, in a kind of a cool boyish kind of way, do the work quietly, talk to the people. And I think Dominicans, by and large, are very receptive of this approach. You meet them on the block, you talk to them, you encourage them, you explain to them what the party is doing. A lot of that is going on. And let me just say as well, I may just do a quick plug for my constituency. Of course, we are starting our Domino League tomorrow.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Saturday, Domino League for the Southeast. We have many teams that have already indicated an interest. As you know, Domino's is big. If one thing you can be sure, you go on the Southeast any day of the week at any time, and you'll find a domino game in progress somewhere. All right, it is a national pastime in that part of the world. I don't know for the rest of Dominica, but for the Southeast, dominoes is a big thing. And so we're very happy to be able to bring some competition and offer some very good prices. We have $1,500 is the winning price.
Big money.
The second price, $1,000, and the third price, $500.
Where does big money come out there? Boy,
big, so big. And then that's going to be followed up by a big sports day next week on the 2nd, that is Sunday the 2nd. But before that, next week is very important, and that's an announcement I would like to make for all of the farmers on the Southeast, from Grand Fond to Daly C's. We'll be having our second meeting with the farmers. We had a first meeting. We invited a few farmers. We said we'll keep it to a small number,
right,
just to discuss the idea and so on. And we had a full house. The word went around and people came. So we decided now to just open it up fully. So all farmers in that area, you're invited. We are going to be talking some very serious business. We're talking about your ability to export your produce or to find markets for your produce. But more importantly, we're going to be talking about organizing the farmers in such a way that in terms of access to inputs, access to support how that can be done and how we can transform agriculture in the Southeast. All right. So when we transform it in the Southeast, we'll then go to Woodfordale and West.
Yeah, that's good. That's
But
good.
certainly the idea is to transform agriculture and to really make
Don't
it a
forget the Roseau
livelihood.
Valley.
To really make it a livelihood, we are going to be bringing money back into the Southeast from agriculture.
Yes, and even part of our outreach program, I think too, we have resumed the sort of zonal meetings. We have put a schedule and some areas like the Roseaus. Like
Yes, so
we-
actually, Roseau, we start with Roseau Central, the PSU Center,
Right.
next Tuesday
Yes.
at 6 o'clock.
It's like 6 o'clock.
6
Right.
o'clock.
Right.
So we'll be having a town hall,
Yes.
all right, for the Roseau area. So you certainly want to turn out for that.
Right.
We'll be discussing the main topic, of course, of discussion is electoral reform,
Right.
which we had a very successful press conference of earlier today. But certainly on Tuesday of next week, we want to invite all of you in the Roseau area to
Right.
converge on the PSU Center.
Or we could easily say the St. George Parish, which will comprise the Roseau Central, Roseau Valley, Roseau North, and Roseau South. Yes, so we are on a roll, and the people, let me just say, you have to respect that. I mean, the point is, campaigning and strategy cannot be on radio. We will inform you as to what we do. We cannot tell you everything we do. Remember, you have other people listening to. So I know you are excited and you want the United Workers' Party to show a different face, but we are actually making a strong presence in the various constituencies. You agree?
Yes, we're doing our work on the ground. Somebody said like Woodlands, we're in there, we're working, we're talking to people. We're, the key of winning an election is people.
People.
You have to get people. You need votes,
Yeah.
and to get votes, you need to be talking to people.
And I like what Liberites always tell us, boy, do everything quietly. Yeah. So that's a good thing.
That's a very
Yeah,
good
very,
thing.
very good
Yes,
thing.
yes. No, TC, you made a very important point. At the end of the day, is the ability to get people to believe in you, believe in your party,
Yep.
Yes.
and then to vote for your
your
party.
party, yeah.
That is the bottom line.
Yeah.
All right. So there are different ways of doing it. One way, of course, is by way of public meetings and so on.
Right.
But that is just one way.
One way.
That's
One
not
way.
the only,
Only
way.
way. Yeah.
So people are saying you guys are doing nothing,
Nothing,
because
yeah.
you're not hearing of the
Yeah.
public meetings.
Yeah.
It does not mean you're not doing anything. The important thing is to reach out to the voter, to be able to convince them.
Yep.
Sometimes you do it the rough way. You go on the loudspeaker, you shout at them, you
Yeah.
shout and you scream and so on. Other times you just meet quietly on the street.
Yeah.
You know, there are different ways of doing it. There are
Exactly.
different methods. At the end of the day, what you want is the convert.
Right.
You know, and people appreciate a lot when you knock on the door and they invite you in and you can sit and discuss with them. We have been doing a
Yes.
lot of
A
that.
lot of that.
A lot of
right.
that. So let me just assure the people, I have seen the criticisms. They call it constructive. It's called constructive criticism.
Right.
I have seen all the constructive criticisms about the strategy of the party and so on. And the thing is, everybody has strategies. Everybody has a strategy for the party. By the end of the day, people need to understand that we are discussing these things and then we agree. And also, if you have something for us, we encourage people. You know how to reach the party. You know how to reach members of the party. I'm on Facebook. Most of you on Facebook. You know how to reach me. Instead of going out there publicly and declaring something, why not try to make a direct contact, conversation.
Yeah.
Tell us, well, maybe you guys should be trying this,
And you may find out that we're actually already doing that.
Yeah. But
exactly.
get the information. It is not good to just go out there and say that, you're not doing this.
Yeah.
Or, there is an election coming up in March and where's the work?
But by and large, we welcome the so-called C-squared, constructive criticism. So, yes, gentlemen, so we're going to interact with the public for just 5 minutes and get back to the other aspect of the program where we will be highlighting some of the presentations that were done earlier today at the press conference. So, gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute break for the calls. We need that part of it, even though it's that segment. So we're going to get the calls. So let people, well-wishers to call back.
Telephone numbers?
Telephone numbers 449. You guys even forget
3095.
Fine. Okay, but we have a caller. We'll come back to the number.
Yeah, caller.
Good night, caller.
Good night, caller. Good night, caller.
Good evening to the panelists.
Good.
I just walking in my home and I just hear about the meeting. I want to know where that meeting is.
Oh, sorry. Yes. So that meeting is for the Southeast. It's taking place in Laplin at the Laplin Catholic Hall. Laplin Catholic Hall. That's right next to the Catholic Church there in Laplin.
Or is that the town hall
So it's
meeting?
not in tongue then.
Oh, so,
The town
sorry.
hall
Talking about the
You're
rules,
talking
or the
about
town hall meeting.
So,
Oh, yes, at the
town hall
PSU, 6
meeting
o'clock,
is at the PSU
Tuesday coming.
on Valley Road at 6
6 p.m.
o'clock on Tuesday. That's Tuesday,
27th.
the 28th.
28th, sorry, 28th.
Tuesday the 28th at the PSU Center. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm listening.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
so 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, and the overseas line 305-432-9624. And we have another number 616-4257. So public, you have 5 minutes to interact with us. As we have said before, for those who are tuning in late, we have now moved the program from 2 hours to 1 hour. Subsequently, it can be reviewed, but we'll be using other platforms to convey the party's message. It is only not one single way, but we cannot forget this aspect because we know that you are glued and always want to know what is going on. And it's one way, and it's just one of the ways or many ways that we can share information, the radio aspect. So call in, it's your time. Call in, callers, call in.
Yes. So it's interesting while we're waiting for the callers. I just wanted to kind of chime in on this electoral reform that we're talking about. We've been at this for how many decades now? We've been working on this. And it's I was listening to last night to the program last night. I thought there was going to be a higas going on there for a while. The PM seemed like he was not too happy about what's going on. I don't understand what the fight is on this electoral reform, because when you look around at all the other islands, they've done this thing. We have a caller. We'll go ahead and take that
Yes,
call.
caller, good evening to you.
There we go.
Good evening, caller. Okay, yes, doctor.
Yes, caller, go ahead, please. You're probably
Is that
listening to the,
muffled?
to the
Okay,
telephone.
we'll have to put you up, caller. We just not hearing anything. We are not hearing anything. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So all the other islands have done this without, as the political leader said this morning, without even a squeak.
Yes.
I mean, the process went through so smoothly that there was no big hiccups, there was no big fight, there was no big higas going on. This the electoral commission in those islands went through, did their work, and in a matter of months, the lists were reviewed, cleaned, and everything was back to normal.
Right.
And here we are in Dominica. We got another call. We'll go ahead and take that call.
Yes. Caller, good evening.
Hello, good night.
Yes, good night to you.
I'm calling from Marigot. Marigot is locked in and we're listening.
Oh, good. Marigot, good night to you. Thanks for the support for all over the years. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. We really want to thank the Marigot people, for listening and staying tuned in. And as you said, so for that constant support.
Oh, for content.
So it's good to know that you're tuned in and hearing loud and clear.
Loud and clear.
Hearing the Q9 and getting Q, the big station over there in Marigot.
Yes, but Ronald, you Mr. Charles, you understand what I'm saying with this electoral reform? Why is there such a big fight going on to get something that's been done everywhere else so easy and so simple?
Well,
Simply.
there are two ways to look at it. I believe that the incumbents who have been there for so many years, sous du major, fix the thing. If tu do café bagay ou café travail tout partout.
Yeah.
Ou café 10 ou café ça, économique à grow bagay ka fait. Comment on pay electoral reform? Ça y fait où? Because it is simple to realize that
We got a call, Ronald.
okay.
Yes, caller. Good evening, caller.
Good evening,
Good
caller.
night.
Good night, good night, good night.
Yes, so it's Rick locked in, but there are few things I want to tell you because I was traveling on a boat like 2 weeks back,
Yes.
and then we were having a discussion about the United Workers' Party, and a lot of people say that even labor rights, they said that in case the United Workers' Party win, what you guys are going to do. So I said to them, you know what? For 20 years, we have been struggling in every sense of the word, so to speak. And then nothing constructive has been done for our country, Dominica. Chiefly our youth, most of them be migrating, and a lot of people lose their life innocently because of frustration. They go to the hospital, they didn't get proper treatment. So I say, what probably you guys could do with all that wasteland we have in Dominica, Probably we could do like coconut, get young people to involve in planting coconuts, try to do a factory where we could have our own chips because Dominica have the best soil and our food is so tasty. Our water, we could have some plants and to bottle water. There's a lot of things workers can do to bring the economy back as it used to be. And with agriculture, we can do a lot because we can export bananas again. So, and then we could have crayfish instead of getting imported things. We could do like how when the Chinese were there before.
Prawn farming, prawn farming.
Right.
Taiwanese.
Yes, so all that, we have to bring it back.
Yes.
And then what I was thinking about, Mr. Skerritt had those Chinese friends. What he should have done while he was there for all those years, try to do a train track from Cortez to the end of Dominica so that people could drive through the interior part of the island on train. If Chinese doing it, can do so much things, making skyscraper bridges, doing all sorts of things I see on YouTube. They could have done it for Dominica for all those years. What they have done for Dominica, nothing. So with United Workers Party, I think we know a few ideas what we can do. And if you're fishing for the farmers, the fishermen, the parents say one person can bring in $30,000, I think, a month or a week. I can't remember.
A day.
45, sir.
45.
Right. Okay, 45, right. So we can try to do things where we could have our own fish. We can package it and sell it to our locals as well too, and maybe for the other Caribbean islands. And what I would like all to do again, like go to the Caribbean islands and get Dominicans that is living like in Antigua, St. Martin, in different parts of the Caribbean. We could take our produce, bring it to them, and then we'll sell it to them, and then they would make their own money from it. So when we bring it to them, they will how should I say it now? They will sell it, but they will pay us back. So all that will put money back into the economy of Dominica. There is so much we can do. So I tell you that's what I was saying to the girl on the bus. There's a lot of things we can do, but we as Dominicans have to come together and talk to you guys, help you guys to put things in perspective so we can have a better Dominica, because Dominica should be the best place to live and to do everything, because a lot of people migrating. I may be on the edge, I upside down, and I might run. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Sure, I want to stay to work, and do because there's a lot I can do.
Yeah, don't run.
There's a lot we can do.
Better days are coming. Better days are coming.
Don't run. Better days are coming.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll give someone else a chance because there's a lot we can do. We can discuss and put Dominica back on track and back on the map. And we want them to know that Dominica, we have to be the envy of the Caribbean. So with workers, we have to do it.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Caller. Let's
Caller?
go right to the next.
Yes, caller.
Yeah, the caller listening to their telephone.
Caller, you are
to
on,
their
caller.
program.
You are on, caller.
Yeah, they're
Good
listening.
evening.
Yes, good evening. Good evening.
I'm listening. It have any married got nigga there?
Wesley is exclusive.
It had two tupu man there.
We, buddy. I think Dr. TC can respond.
Tell them the tupu man they call for them. Married got tupu.
A Wesley man are the closest thing you are here.
Blessings, Mr. Lincoln, Mr. Parrish, and all the others. Blessings.
Okay, good.
Right.
Good. Thank you for the thank you very much. Yeah, and the caller made some point. And the caller, okay, and your caller, good. Yes. Caller, good evening to you.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening, sir.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead, caller.
Good night.
Yes, good night to you, man.
Yes. I was listening to the electoral
Meeting.
meeting last night, and what had get me I know is the Attorney General saying he did not work with the bill. I want to ask Mr. Ronald Charles what do you think about that?
Let me just say, well, the Attorney General, I guess, at the end of the day, maybe if he had walked with it, maybe he would have said something different. Because I believe it was important for him to have had that document with him, because you're talking about a forum that discussing important issues that affects people's lives and that affects the whole issue surrounding democracy and we're debating issues that the government has one way of looking at it, and we have another way of looking at it. So to not walk with it, to me, his mind has been made up that he either agrees with us that all the changes are coming, and or they're going to have some objections or not to include some of the recommendations from United Workers Party and to add the other people that the economic the forum, business forum, and of course ERC. So caller, I really don't know why he didn't bring it. And maybe there was so much of them that filled out the PSU. Maybe one of them had it. Maybe.
But let me just, but on a serious note, the caller made an important point. And if electoral reform is so much a center of the agenda, how it is that the Attorney General, who's the main man, a key man
Who
there,
supposedly wrote it.
Right, who supposedly wrote it and must know everything. How could he not remember something? Anyway, we don't live in that. But the government seemed to have appeared there as if that they were the host of the event. You know, and you came here as a guest to mainly listen, Listen, I mean, I don't tell you cannot say something or you heard something, you get it. But coming here as you are the host and trying to dominate the thing, that was extremely bad. But that's another issue. We are saying to Dominicans that we need electoral reform. And by all means, we should get electoral reform because that's what will determine the path of prosperity for the Dominicans. Yes, caller, we are on.
Yes, good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir.
One thing I want to say, unless the government not put election voters ID card, we are stopping. He will say he try to bring election reform and we reject it, as he have custom of saying before. Let him say it. Unless he don't put what we need, we have the right to stop. We have the right to make trouble, disobedience. The person saying that every day with Abamoje. Is that we cannot do just block Roseau unless we don't give us what we need. We have the right. All the agents everywhere saying what he's supposed to do. But unless the man don't bring what he's supposed to bring, he don't see he's a prime minister and is he that making trouble when people talking, he's stopping people, preventing people from talking. I think if he's scared to not want somebody to stop when he's talking to people.
Exactly.
But it's scared badly for a man.
He'll ask for my body. We'll take one more call and then we'll go straight to the agenda. Thank you, caller. Yes.
You know, interestingly enough, the caller mentioned that, and today in the press conference we were very clear: the people of Dominica need to stand up. And now is the time to stand. You know, we should not back down on this issue of electoral reform and the kind of reform, because what you don't want is for this government to have the legislation to back up their cheating ways. And that's what they're doing. Anytime you start with that bloated list, that's what you're in fact saying, you know. Anyhow you're going to say you're going to have reform, yet somehow that 74,380 person list is part of that discussion. That's a non-starter. That is the problem, you know.
But no. If you observe over the past week, last week on the 16th of January, the government started their program to go around in different constituencies to tell people what they have been doing.
Right.
And in my view, people ought to have already seen what they are doing. And I don't understand why the government have to come to tell them what they're doing. Yeah. They ought to have been seen. Yeah. So there is a problem.
Right.
And there is a problem because there is a fear that persons are not satisfied with the governance of this country. So there is what I call the testing the ground syndrome that is being promoted. But I want to take this opportunity to say that you remember in Trafalgar, that was the Roseau Valley, on the 16th of January, I believe. They had this town hall meeting and persons were from different hamlets. And a high percentage of those persons came from either government officials, you know, taking the seats, the area. But what I wanted to say is that there was an important exchange that occurred between the outgoing parliamentary representative, Dr. Irvin McIntyre, and myself.
Right.
I articulated some of the issues the people in the audience were bringing forth to Dr. McIntyre. his lack of visibility in the constituency from the time he really became
And that's a
parliamentary
fact.
and it's a fact.
Yeah.
You know, the sense of the sports within the communities of the Roseau Valley being dead, and I could say that for maybe across the island. And you come in and tell me, because you're part of a cricket team in Mont Prosper, all right, and Cochrane, who is a very, very lovely community, doing a little bit of football, that we have sports in the Roseau Valley. You know, that is your definition of sport. And what people are taking out of this is that Dr. McIntyre made a comment and he was responding to you and you were not there. I am not going to listen to garbage. I'm not going to listen to somebody repeating themselves, promising people things and not delivering. I don't need to do it because I know what the answer would have been.
Yeah.
But furthermore, not only that, the forum that we had in Trafalgar did not give us a chance to rebuttal. And they know why. Because anytime I'd hold that mic to respond to Dr. McIntyre, he understands that he is not representing the Roseau Valley. He had never represented the Roseau Valley in a way that a parliamentary representative is supposed to do it. The Roseau Valley people are fed up, and they knew that he was telling lies when you're talking about sports is going on in the Roseau Valley. Which sports that is going on?
So if he joins the Wrongers team tomorrow, the Wrongers
then because of that. And then the other issue that disturbs me is the issue of the basketball. We were the Roseau Valley Prowlers, was the champion a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, and all of a sudden, after so many years, there's no basketball going on. You're building a facility, you didn't incorporate any of the basketballers to say, is this a good thing what we're doing? You're just building blocks. You had Dr. McIntyre a property to hand out some houses in the Roseau Valley, right? In Trafalgar specifically. Siri was the one who went there with his cameras and tell you since 2017 that those buildings are there. You have been using it as an election gimmick.
Yeah.
And for the past time, you could imagine there were people since 2017. It finished in, I think, 4 years after that. So that would be, let me see if I can check.
You can save some of that for when you're meeting come.
Yes, I will.
So
But
I think,
was just
yeah.
trying to-
Yes, I was just trying. So I think we had enough. Doc, we're going to just play this film song and then we're going to get to the second segment that is 5 minutes each of some presentation. Ronald, I know you have
No, I
sufficient,
have to-
you have sufficiently answered Dr.
Yes.
Mark tonight, and you will just leave that for when your turn come to the valley, so you can speak to the valley people now.
But I have been speaking to
I know you have been speaking to
I was
them.
just now speaking
In fact,
to the world.
Your presence in the valley has surpassed that of no, Mr.
I'm going to do something a little bit better than the film song. You know, when the Calypso season, just a little bit.
I don't care what it is. Let's go Calypso. Let's go Calypso. I don't care what it is. Woo! I've been dancing.
I've never been a priest, nor have been a pastor. But from where I stand, I see spiritual warfare. The things that we see, people going after. It is very clear that there are demons out there. But if we need to stop this evil spirit from invading our churches and public office, evil and good can't be in one unit. We need to bring up the heart believe. Like here on the obia, pretend like you don't know it there. Things happening in our face, people behave like they don't take. In Christians story 100-fold, but podcast can block the hole. My uncle wants to snap again, but this time I have uncle pray. Don't open our eyes and stop. The things they will do if we play Jeff and Momo. We have pastors from East and West, Metro, Black and Meter. Them and the scramble past. Please pray for the churches, please pray for the police. They are fighting battles that should not exist. If churches would pray and police would arrest, to take out them demons and clean up all promise. But it seems my people, they are under a spell. See what is the remedy to keep them in hell? The church and police to fight for what is right. Oh, help me God, them don't collide. It's in the country in a trance, the people need that deliverance. Playing like a pharaoh, see they say that my people.
Yes. So you've heard the Mighty Checo and we are back. And so now Dr. Thompson Fong did lead us with some of the presentations. I mean, we've heard, I mean, some people may have heard earlier on, but we need to repeat some of the presentations. So we might take 5 minutes in each of what was being said from different speakers. I don't know if it can work, but anyway, from maybe two or three speakers. So let's see what we can do tonight. Yeah.
Okay, so the way we'll do it, I'll take a little bit from, because since I already lined up from what I spoke, then we'll do
we'll interchange.
And then,
yeah, no problem.
Or we can, okay, let's do it this way then. We'll take a little bit from Ronald, or from the PRO.
From the PRO. Let's study the PRO. Yes.
We'll take a little bit from the PRO. And
yes, let's take. Yeah, and then
all right. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's go. It's the audio.
But also for fostering a political environment where every citizen feels empowered to participate in the democratic process. These reforms are crucial in ensuring that our elections are transparent and effective. Furthermore, we demand fresh general elections following the completion of the reforms. The December 2022 elections were marked by allegations of irregularities and have been described as a sham by many citizens. It is imperative that we rectify the situation through legitimate processes that restore faith in our democracy. In addition to electoral reform, we recognize that there are pressing issues facing our nation. Rising unemployment rates among youth, increasing crime rates, and issues with education and healthcare system. UWP believes that addressing these issues requires strong leadership and decisive action from our government. We propose creating increased police training to effectively fight crime, and establishing the Dominican State College as a premier learning institution. These initiatives will not only improve living standards, but also contribute significantly to national development. Team Dominica stands firmly committed to advocate for meaningful change in Dominica's electoral landscape. We call on all stakeholders, government officials, civil society organizations, and citizens to join us in this endeavor. Together, let us work towards building a more inclusive democracy where every voice matters.
And the political leader, when he gives his presentation, be endorsed, because we've been seeing and we have observed that there seems to be a twist to what is democracy. And we strongly believe it is time that these recommendations made by various business forums, other political parties, be embraced for the betterment of this country and moving forward. We see and we should know by now, when democracy is embraced, you get better voter turnouts. More people are enthusiastic about the whole process. You get better representation because it is of fundamental importance. So, my recommendation, and I know that the political leader will do that, but I have to say, for the record, that electoral reform with the changes that have been recommended by the various stakeholders be taken on board. We cannot go back into a next election without the basics. For example, our voters' ID. Just an example.
To world-class healthcare, to young people who are looking for a future in the island of their birth. Electoral reform is important to them too. Because all of these things are affected seriously by the people we allow and we select to govern. So it behoves that the process of selecting representatives must be ethical. It must be transparent. There must be built-in mechanisms of accountability that allow people from all walks of life to feel that they are free to select the representatives who have their best interests and the interest of their children's future at heart. We will spend a lot of time in the coming weeks talking about the legislation, going section by section and making recommendations as we have done as a party before. But why we are coming to the public and why we continue to look for the public's endorsement is because we want to remind everyone, not just from a political party's perspective, but from a national perspective, about the importance of having an ethical, legal system, free and fair, that allows us to select representatives that will govern our country. We have key areas of contention. The voters list. There are certain criteria of eligibility that gets you on and off a voters list. Why is that important? Because we want to make sure that the people who are participating in selecting representatives understand why, and it affects them too. So it's not about disenfranchising anyone, but it is ensuring that those who are exercising the franchise have skin in the game. They live here. The laws that will be passed here in the parliament affect them directly. That is why a clean voters list is important. The issue of ID cards and using biometrics. We understand the importance of biometrics, but why do we need biometrics in a voting system as we see around the world? Again, to ensure that the people participating in the process are who they say they are. And we're not skewing the process unfairly by voting twice and conducting other fraudulent activity during the voting process, because it will affect the way we live our lives the following day. Campaign finance reform. Why is it important to the ordinary Dominican? It is important because if our elections are available to big money interests, it disenfranchises an entire population. Because likely the people who will be selected will have big money interests at the forefront of their priority list, as opposed to the needs of the people. We could go on. There are a number of other cases, other legislations, other points of legislation that are contention. But these three areas, I wanted to touch on them. And to remind the people of Dominica that electoral reform simply isn't about partisanship and wanting to exchange power. And obviously, when we actually get the electoral reform that we want, we have a lot of work to do on the ground. Electoral reform is not what's going to put you in office or take you out. But a clean electoral system puts the people of Dominica first. And that's what we are advocating for. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
15th of January, outlining the shortcomings that we saw in the legislation and making some very positive recommendations to fixing those deficiencies in the existing proposed legislation. So I'm going to read for you at this time the letter that we address to the Honorable Prime Minister, because it certainly is the position of our party. Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, electoral reform legislation introduced to Parliament. We have reviewed the bills for the Electoral Commission Act, the revised House of Assembly's Elections Act, and the revised Registration of Electors Act, which were introduced in Parliament on December 16, 2024, intended to give effect to the long-awaited reform of our electoral process. The United Workers' Party believes that the reforms to be facilitated by the proposed election laws are inadequate and do not go far enough in ensuring fair, free, and credible elections in Dominica. We are therefore requesting an urgent meeting with you at your earliest convenience to discuss our concerns and to present formally our recommendations to amend the proposed laws in the interest of ensuring that they effectively meet the heightened public expectations of genuine electoral reform. For perspective, you will recall that in December 2014, the Commonwealth Observer Mission concluded that the general election in Dominica was free, but was not necessarily fair due to, and I quote, multiple instances of cheating and bribery, including the transportation of electors to the island to vote, and the apparent abuses of incumbency, including a lack of impartiality in the provision of public services, end of quote. In July 2022, the Caribbean Court of Justice, our highest court, admonished us about the importance of dealing with a tainted electoral process. Again, I quote, there remain areas of grave concern about how the process of these 2019 elections were conducted. Future elections in Dominica ought not to proceed with these or similar taints. Following the snap election of December 2022, the Organization of American States, the OAS Observer Mission advised, quote, it is clear that Dominica cannot proceed to another election under the current rules. It will therefore be essential to have a new electoral framework in place before the next poll. The proposed new and revised election laws do not adequately address the critical matter of removing the taints on the electoral process to clear the way for free and fair elections. Our main concerns, therefore, as follows. One, a clean and accurate voters list. The constitutional right to vote is a right granted to citizens of Dominica and the Commonwealth citizens over the age of 18 who are resident in Dominica to vote for representation in the Parliament of Dominica. Persons voting for representation in the Parliament of Dominica who are ordinarily resident outside of Dominica is a violation of the constitutional right to vote and a taint on the electoral process for fair elections. Yet, our electoral process allows for a register of electors with more persons than the resident population of Dominica. In order to have an accurate list of voters who are eligible based on the constitutional requirements of citizenship, age, and residency, there must be a total re-registration of voters and provisions for cleansing of the voters list annually. Confirmation of registration as proposed, instead of re-registration that confirms the eligibility to vote, will not remove the taint of a bloated, inaccurate voters list open to fraudulent manipulation. The proposed new Registration of Electors Act, introduced in Parliament in December 2024, seeks to establish a system for electing a government that allows citizens living overseas who are not ordinarily resident in Dominica to choose representatives in the Parliament of Dominica for constituencies where they do not live and therefore cannot be represented. The new Registration of Electors Act also seeks to legitimize a system for electing a government that allows for citizens living overseas who are not ordinarily resident in Dominica to be paid to come home to vote to determine the results in constituencies where they do not live and therefore cannot be represented. In our view, One way of addressing these particular shortcomings is to have a complete re-registration process, something which has been undertaken successfully in our neighboring countries. Number two, voter identification cards. According to the recommendations of the electoral consultant, Sir Dennis Byron, quote, the introduction of voter identification cards to persons registered as electors supported with biometric data was considered one of the most important reforms by almost everyone. This was regarded as essential to eliminate or minimize a wide variety of fraudulent conduct at elections, including impersonation and multiple voting. End quote.
Yes. And so thank you very much for listening. We are back on again. We are winding down. In fact, we have come to the end of the program. So as was promised, we have actually, dealt with the matters concerning our press conference today. And you have heard from obviously our new PRO, Michelle Insabroch. You have heard from Honorable Ronald Charles. You heard from Honorable Delbert Paris. And you have heard from Dr. Thompson Fontaine. Well, there is a lot more to come with those who've spoken, and we'll hear it in subsequent program. But for now, that's what we can bring to you. Let me see. Tonight's program was at least short, but I think very exciting. And so for some of the callers who called, we want to thank you for your participation. Let me say again, good night to Roseau Central and Roseau Central constituents. You have been supportive one way or the other. Well, while they say we did not see in us, but we know what we do. We know what we are capable of doing, and we continue to do what we have to do. So, gentlemen, right away now we come straight to the winding down part of our program. So let me say we're going to go round table and get it done. And I suspect the vice president of the party is always ready. Honorable Ronald Charles, can you please just
it was great being here this evening. I just want to tell our listeners we'll be in a new gear come for the other sessions, in a new style and fashion. So they can stay tuned, because our communication group is working extremely hard to bring some new dynamics to our
broadcasting.
Broadcast. Yeah. So thanks for the opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Political Leader. May God bless. Thank you, Dominic.
Yes, and Dr. TC.
Yes, thanks. I really appreciated being here tonight. Short, but really good show. Yeah. A lot of information. I just wanted to put a plug real quick for the people who are asking, or who may be asking, what is all this about electoral reform? Just keep in mind that they say election has consequences, right? And if you don't have free and fair election, it affects everything you do. It affects agriculture, tourism, your back pocket, your wallet, everything. So this is what the fight is on. It's not for the law or the rule. It's for getting the people the economic freedom that they need. Somebody told me today that some people are satisfied with getting $300 and $600 whenever they're down and out. Free and fair election means that we have a group of people, hopefully, that can run an economy. If it's the United Workers' Party, and we hope that it is, it's not a hopefully, it will be people who can run an economy and get things done. So that's why the fight is on for free and fair election. The fight is on because we want the people of Dominica to benefit from governance that is free, that's fair, that's transparent, and that's working for the people of this country. Thanks, Soso.
Yes, and interestingly, while you say that, before the political leader will put down the curtains on the program, all of the reports that were submitted, you have never heard one of the reports said the electoral reform was for UWP, it was for Freedom Party, it was for Labour Party. It was all of the reports were speaking to equal playing field for everyone. So any party who comes would be under some favorable conditions, which means that if you lost, you would have conceded. If you won, you would have people say you could have praised your victory. And so that is what all of the reports have spoken of. And so we are not there talking about electoral reform for a particular party to win. It's for everybody to feel satisfied that we have participated on a level playing field, and the outcome is such. And I can say, hail hooray, I've lost, I've won. Anyway, I will congratulate the winner against me or the loser against me. Dr. Thompson Fontaine, final words.
Yes, just to say, it's been a pleasure doing this and to be back on the air. We're excited about that we're back on the air. And as we indicated, we'll be having a different format going forward in the next few weeks. But we want to thank you, the loyal listener, for continuing to spend your Thursday nights with us on The Workers' Voice. Look for us at a station near you, at a town hall, at a facility near you, because we'll be coming to your village, to your town. So starting on Tuesday, we want to encourage you to come out in your numbers. We need your support. We need you to be there with us. We want to show a united front as it concerns electoral reform. And of course, United Workers' Party, your party of choice. We continue to indicate, and we want to thank all of you who called tonight. We want to thank the caller who gives very good suggestions on how we can win, continue to win hearts and minds. And that's what it is all about, guys. Ultimately, we want the vote. We want you to vote for us as a party. Ultimately, we want your support because we believe that the United Workers' Party is indeed the better party for Dominica. We are ready to take this country forward. We are ready to reverse all of the failings of this administration. And so I want to pray God's blessing upon all of you tonight. And thank you so much for being a part of us here on the big station, and of course, to be a part of the United Workers' Party. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Until next week.
Good night.
Good night.
I've never been a priest, nor have been a pastor. But from where I stand, I see spiritual warfare. The things that we see, people going after. It is very clear that there are demons out there. But if we need to stop this evil spirit from invading our churches and public office, evil and good can be in one unit.